Hey guys, let's take a look at this Blitz game that I played recently. It's a TROMPOWSKY ATTACK, and it's going to be a really entertaining game. If you want to learn how to play TROMPOWSKY ATTACK, I have some videos in the channel about this interesting aggressive variation, including this one that we played here in this game. So here I have the center. That's what happens very often in this line, but I lost the two bishops. So I lost the dark squares bishop. So in general, the position is interesting. Probably white is a little better. And at this point of the game, I'm thinking I want to develop my bishop, but I have a problem, and it is like if I develop the bishop over here, for example, my pawn on g2 is going to be unprotected. So there might be ideas with, for example, queen g6, attacking e4, attacking g2. So that's why I was thinking a little at this point, and I was not sure how to play. Probably bishop e2 is actually playable. There's nothing wrong, because I will get a lot of compensation if I lose the pawn. But in the game I didn't see it clear, so I just decided to develop the bishop over the fianchetto, which is not the best decision, but it works well enough for a blitz game. So at this point, I'm planning bishop g2, castle, but this is going to take a couple of moves. My opponent is reacting in the center, and well, here I decided to advance, get some space, and I will develop very quickly. After knight d4, I decided to play bishop d2 as it is normal, and here my opponent is planning this idea. With d6, he wants to play bishop to g4, pin, a lot of pressure here on f3, but there's something that I think he missed, and it's like the bishop on b4 is hanging. However, the lines are very interesting, because here, if I play queen a4 and I get the bishop, my opponent can fork. So this is what I'm thinking at this point of the game. It's interesting how I saw this immediately, but then I said, well, I cannot get into this. And then I continued analyzing, and I thought, well, I can actually get into this line because I can remove the knight first. So I remove the knight, and then I can get into that line. I'm not going to get one piece, but I'm still going to get one pawn. So that's why I decided to play the line. I almost castle, but then I said, well, I have to make it work. I have this option to make it work. So then I traded the knight, and then I can get the check, and I'm getting one pawn with this line. So I have an extra pawn. Of course I'm better, but the position is still tricky because my bishop is not so great. Observe, the pawns are blocked on light squares, and also observe this pawn on c3 is weak, so he can't put pressure there. So I'm clearly better. I'm much better, we can say, but in a blitz game it's not so easy, maybe, because I have to deal with the pressure here, and I have to deal with the bishop that is not doing much. However, I have this plan where I'm going to try to play e5. Here I offer trade, and of course if he trades I should be fine. I'm going to play e5 later. So now I'm going to try this plan of playing e5. That's my idea here. And if I can actually play e5, it's going to be very well, because then my bishop is going to be good again. So basically the main problem that I have here is the bishop that is not playing, and also the pawn, but he's not really putting too much pressure. He's not creating problems on c3 right now. So if I can make my bishop play with the extra pawn, I should be much better. But observe how he plays f6, because he knows that he needs to avoid that plan, whatever it takes. So this is where things get more and more interesting every time. I'm going to try to double rooks and play some e5 at some point. But also when he plays this bishop b5, he wants to play rook c4. It's not really like a huge threat, but I wanted to avoid it, and I played c4 to make sure that didn't happen. Yeah, I cannot take the bishop on b5 because the rook is hanging on c1. So I need to continue maneuvering, defending my pawn now on c4. And again, my plan is to play e5, but look at this. There are 4 black pieces reinforcing e5. So he's trying to prevent that whatever it takes. And that's why this is getting so interesting. And also the time, I have like 1 minute, and he has 2 minutes, so he has much better time. And this is 3 minutes no increment. And here I found this idea where I can relocate my bishop over this diagonal. And this is going to be very interesting because there's this square a6 that I can use for the bishop. So yeah, I decided to try this, be aggressive, play dynamically, and try to not stay passive defending the pawn on c4. So that's why I tried this idea. Also, black king is not very well. Observe that they advance the pawns, so there are weaknesses on the light squares. And here I was analyzing, okay, this is very interesting. I was analyzing very seriously the move a5, because it looks like I can actually play it. There are 3 defenders by black, and I have like 3 defenders. So it looks like playable, but there's a trick. If I play e5, black can play d takes e5, and then if I play f takes e5, there's a pin here, so my bishop is not really protected. My opponent can play rook takes bishop, and I'm losing the bishop. I was about to play e5, but then I realized about that idea, opening the file with the queen on the same line. So instead of that, I played another interesting move. Observe this one, f5. And this is very interesting because I have been talking about the bishop is a bad piece because my pawns are on light squares. I have been saying that I think more than once in this video. And now I'm playing f5, so I'm making more pawns. I'm bringing more pawns to light squares. So what am I doing here? How is this a good idea? I was also talking about breaking on e5. How do you play f5 now? So this is like changing everything that I have been talking so far in the video. It's like breaking all the plans that I was highlighting. So let's analyze the move for a moment. f5 is actually a very good and interesting move. Of course, this is going to be very hard to play. It is going to be very hard to play 5 after this, because almost impossible, unless you want to sacrifice for some reason, for some strategical reason. I won't be able to play e5. However, the plan now is not in the center. The plan now is on the king side. I'm planning to break on g5. That's the idea now. So I'm actually focusing on the enemy king. As the position is so blocked, as black's pawns are advanced and the king's unsafe, and the light squares around the king are so weak, I'm actually planning a break on g5. So that's the plan here. I close the position. My bishop is not really that bad because my bishop is ahead of all these pawns and is controlling very important squares on g8, f7, and also over here, over c8. So the bishop is actually very well. The bishop is not a problem by now. And the break is not going to be on e5, but it's going to be on g5. And the attack is very serious. There are very good attack possibilities here. So let's see how this continues. Now we are getting under time pressure. So this is getting more and more interesting every time. He saw that I had those ideas, so he was trying to trade. And after the trade, I'm getting a passed pawn on the 6th rank. Observe the chain of pawns, and I continue with my plan. I want to break on g5, open that king, and attack. My 2 rooks are ready to join this attack. Here he's getting 1 pawn over there, but I'm not really worried about that. I'm worried about the attack. The enemy king is more important than 1 pawn. So, and of course I must be a little careful here because my king is very discovered, so I cannot let the queen infiltrate over there and give checks and those things. So that's why I played this prophylactic rook g3. For example, here I can take the pawn on a6 because there is a pin, but then the queen comes, checks, and this is not clear. This is not clear. So yeah, I played the prophylactic rook g3 for that reason. And now I'm actually taking the pawn on a6. So that's why he takes, but the problem is that now he's opening the h file. So I'm going to use this to continue with the attack. I'm going to double rooks over there, and this is going to be really dangerous. Actually, this is already winning for white. There's not much black can do. They take the pawn, but there's a surprise here. I don't have to defend my queen because I can create a mating net here. Now with the 2 rooks, the pawn on f7 of course is essential in this position, and I'm giving checkmate on a8. The queen is hanging, there's not much he can do with that. He can also give a check over here, over c2. That doesn't change anything, just play king e3 and totally okay in that position. So this move is actually winning the game. It's a mating net with a queen sac included, and there's nothing black can do at this point. Exactly, so he's going to resign, and that's how I get he's going to accept that it's mate. Okay, so thank you so much guys for watching. If you have any question, let me know in the comments. Remember, like, subscribe, play the right move, and see you on the next.